It's like a rediscovery of the old, right? That there were benefits to NoSQL, but there are a lot of benefits to database, and they can do a lot of things now with database with some of the new 23 AI stuff that is easier to do now in a database than it was to do with NoSQL. So, and what that means for businesses is that means more products, more productivity, more use of your data, less labor hours, right? It means more efficiency.
Database has been, I've been around the Oracle database for almost 27, 28 years. And database has gone through a lot of iterations of where the innovation has been brought inside the database, where you do not have to modify the data, rather bring the new technologies to look at the data itself and get more power out of it. And in 2024, 2025, what we have seen in the database side is just tremendous innovations coming in, especially with the AI technologies, vector searches, the new sharding of the databases. Number 4 is overall multiple parallel active instances, where you can actually have a single instance running in different parts of the globe. I mean, those are just to name a few, and these are the one which have been in brewing for last few years. But now with a lot of people adapting the technologies, the technology itself is coming to the forefront, and the database, which basically is acting as not only just a database but as a data platform for all of these technologies to utilize. Moreover, I'll say one of the biggest things that Oracle has done is work with multiple cloud providers, hyperscalers like Azure, Google, and AWS, to actually make it not only available via backup links, but also make it available in their own data centers, which is basically what we call as the Oracle at ecosystem, which means Oracle at Azure, Oracle at GCP. So you do not have to modify the application. You can run any Oracle database dependent or any application that's utilizing the Oracle database. You can run it at any hyperscaler without modifying a single bit of code.
One of the shifts that I've seen, to echo what Ajay is saying, is the shift back to database. So for a while there, we were seeing a lot of projects to move away from database to things like NoSQL and Hadoop and a lot of these kinds of tools. But a lot of companies have discovered that these tools are actually quite expensive to operate, just like a database is expensive to operate, right? And they're quite complicated. When your data is stored on 100 servers, it becomes very difficult to do things like backups and restoration. And for a lot of business cases, your data is highly relational, and relational databases are much easier to work with for highly relational data. And so we're seeing a lot of companies shift back to database, which is strange, right? It's like a rediscovery of the old, right? That there were benefits to NoSQL, but there are a lot of benefits to database, and they can do a lot of things now with database with some of the new 23 AI stuff that is easier to do now in a database than it was to do with NoSQL. So, and what that means for businesses is that means more products, more productivity, more use of your data, less labor hours, right? It means more efficiency to get the outcome that you want. Because what they all really care about is they want to use their data to do something useful as efficiently as possible and as affordably as possible. And that move back to database is going to make people more efficient.
And I'll add to that is when we talk about the database and especially the Exadata 11M itself. Exadata X11M is the latest version of the Exadata in the market. And by far, it's one of the fastest machine I've ever seen. Not only because AMD brings the fastest chipsets, the amount of number of ports, the amount of memory we can address, but also the backbone of Exadata, which runs on what we call as the Rocky switches, and Rocky network, which can actually do the connection between the servers and the data in a very, very low latency mode. And that's what the speed of the Exadata, along with when we bring the database innovations together and the speed of the Exadata itself, when you merge them together, it actually provides a platform where customers doesn't have to wait for days or hours to get the answer back. They can get in either minutes or seconds. And overall, like Jake mentioned earlier, people are not now trying to go back into the database because guess what? Oracle database, especially in the last few years, the innovations we have seen, is actually bringing multiple data types and storage types inside the database also. I'll take example of it. I have an application which I'm running against MongoDB. I'd want to port it to Oracle. Earlier, it used to take months and months of testing, validating the data, migrating it over. Now I have a MongoDB API directly going into the Oracle database, so I do not need to modify my application at all. The JSON document, I mean, we talk about the documentation DB or document DB. I mean, that's Oracle started that with the XML DB, and now we have a full JSON database in it.
Yeah, that's true. That's a great point. So we have a client Ajay and I are working with that is going to save millions of dollars migrating from MongoDB hosted on a certain cloud provider that's a managed service to Oracle Autonomous JSON, hosted also as a managed service, but in Oracle Cloud. And because Oracle Database supports the MongoDB protocol, they don't have to change anything about their app. But then once it's in Oracle Database, they can actually index it in ways above and beyond what MongoDB can do. So for some of their larger scale use cases, they're actually recognizing substantial savings, which goes against everything we were told when we started implementing MongoDB for customers, right? Because we were like, well, database doesn't scale well and it's very expensive. And then we're kind of going full circle and going, well, for a lot of use cases, MongoDB is not the most cost-effective way, and it's kind of awkward to do things that are pretty easy to do in a database. Like there's trade-offs, right? And people are recognizing there are a lot of cases that we used to think were good for databases that for a while we thought were good for NoSQL. Now we're coming back, and yeah, because it supports the MongoDB protocol, you don't have to modify all your apps. You just at your Oracle database, load the data in, and then you can use all of the business intelligence tools and things that you have with Oracle's suite of tools with your data that is still MongoDB compatible, right? So that's also changing the game, right? People
Absolutely.
can do that used to be so expensive.
No, absolutely. And with that, I think I don't know, you guys got caught the one of the buzzwords or one of the words that Jake just slipped in as the autonomous.
Yeah.
We as DBAs have struggled of managing the database. How do I performance tune a database for a specific workload? Now you do not have to. Autonomous actually learns from the SQL queries, learns from the sessions that are coming in, and understands the user behavior and tunes itself, patches itself in such a fashion that it can adjust itself to whether the workload is data warehouse or transactional oriented. And that's where the whole idea is. We do not need to spend hours and after hours maintaining the platform. We'll rather do that by looking at how we can add the value to the business and let the platform take care of itself at a very hyper speed. And secondly, doesn't matter where it needs to stay, whether it's an Oracle Cloud, on-prem, or any other hyperscaler. And the main idea of what we are trying to do here is making the environment and the architecture much simple for the customers. Again, pardon my French, but this is what we call as following the KISS methodology, right? Keep it simple. I don't want to use the word in the second S here, but keep it very simple. And in this case, what we have seen customers who had applications written in .NET or any other technology, but not in PL SQL or SQL, but you're using Oracle databases on-prem. When they go to hyperscalers, okay, the connectivity between multiple cloud, of course, there's a backbone between Azure and OCI, but that still has about 2 to 4 milliseconds of delay. What happens if your application is transactional, which cannot sustain a 2 millisecond delay, and that's going to start timing out? This is where Oracle has taken actually a bigger approach in the market of providing the other hyperscalers not only the G2 on how to run the Exadata, but also not only just look at the Exadata, but also looking at how you actually can get the full PaaS service for database in different hyperscalers as well. One of the examples which we're going to see in the next few weeks is the announcement of DBCS, the Database Cloud Service in Azure. Exascale in Azure was just announced 2 weeks ago. And this is where the technology is going, that you do not need to have a dedicated hardware to get a performance. Rather, you can have a multi-tenant hardware in your own hyperscaler choice of hyperscaler, and then attach it to the database itself without worrying about where the performance and where the billing will come from, because it's exactly going to cost you the same that's going to cost in OCI.
Well, and I think at this point, Ajay, almost every one of our customers has a degree of multi-cloud, right?
Absolutely.
It's like anybody in any enterprise now is running in 2 or more cloud providers, usually with some kind of on-prem presence. Oracle Cloud also offers very, very affordable site-to-site VPN and Fast Connect, right? So a lot of customers are leveraging this, and it's very affordable then to set up multi-cloud in the hub and spoke methodology using Oracle Cloud. So it's a little secret, and also Oracle Cloud tends to be cheaper than the other cloud providers, right? But a lot of times they have systems that are built on top of, say, Azure AI or AWS's AI products. And so they're like, well, I can't migrate that, but it's really expensive to operate everything else in my business in AWS. So I'll migrate some of the workloads to OCI, save a lot of money over there. And like you said, sometimes they want to move that database into their environment because they don't want the latency of going back and forth between Oracle Cloud and their, say, Azure or Google Cloud, right?
And that adds to the second point on the multi-cloud is we have seen all kinds of use cases in this case where customers' application was running in a different hyperscaler and the database was in OCI. Now we're starting helping them move the database closer to the application to remove the latency, remove the delays as well. But not only that, all the tool sets they were using on-prem or in their own hyperscalers, they can still utilize the same tool sets. One of the use cases was for a customer to do the analysis, they will run the EBS application in OCI and then take the data, summarize data into Azure, and then do Power BI on it. But guess what? Now I can do everything in one place. I do not need to move the data. And secondly, it actually makes much easier because customer does not have to innovate or buy new product sets. With the Oracle's announcement of providing the Oracle technologies, not through the backbone connectivity, but actually in their own data centers, like for Azure or for GCP or AWS, Oracle is now extending those technologies to the other hyperscalers, like we discussed earlier. Now the biggest thing is the first one was the Azure. Now the second one is the biggest one is the GCP. We know Google is one of the biggest cloud providers available in the market. And we have seen a lot of the Oracle customers running Oracle databases on just infrastructure as a service. They're not able to utilize a lot of the features of the database that they can utilize in OCI. So that on demand from the customers, both the hyperscalers have met, and now under Mark Hura in OCI and under Thomas Kurian in GCP, they're basically now coordinating together where we can provide the GCP, where we can provide the Oracle database within the GCP itself, and all the new scale features of 23AI are now available in GCP also. And just because it's an Oracle database, again, Oracle technologies have been the backbone and strength of Centroid for almost 26 years now. And our strengths, when we look at when the customers are asking for it, okay, I'm moving to Azure, I'm moving to GCP or anybody else, and the Oracle databases and Oracle technologies are available there, can you do that? Absolutely. The answer is absolutely yes. That has been our strength from day one. And to get the full benefit of it within the ecosystem, not only but the OCI, we are now extending our partnership to GCP as well. And we announced that about 2 weeks ago, that we are not only becoming GCP partner for just managing the Oracle workloads, but also extending it to the customers who want to move to GCP and want to bring the data closer to their applications. My advice to anybody who's looking at the database platform or innovations is, don't be bound by a single hyperscaler. Okay, you are every organization is, again, if you're using Office 365, you already have Azure footprint. Okay, so with the Oracle database now, you can be in OCI or in AWS or Azure itself. So don't be bound by a single hyperscaler. Expand your horizon into multiple clouds and use the native services that a single hyperscaler is able to provide. Use that native service, because that's where benefits are going to come from. The optimizations and the performance are coming directly in the cloud computing, where they are running natively, not where they are actually deployed somewhere. Okay. And that's where everybody is heading towards. And secondly, with the innovations in database and AI, we're looking at tons of data for 10, 15, 20 years easily, which can not only go into terabyte but also into petabytes. Okay, think of innovating your organization to use a stable foundational data platform, so you do not need to replicate the data at multiple places. And that's I think we are missing out on, is people start looking at data lakes, data warehouses. No, look at the data platform as a whole, and understand that how you can utilize the data platform to satisfy the needs of multiple tool sets, whether it will be analytical tool sets or visualization tool sets, or even just simple transactional reporting. That single data platform can answer all those questions.